Welcome to ZOOMERTIMES TV. And here's your host, Anita Finley.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Anita Finley, your host for the ZOOMERTIMES TV show. And we have, as you know, wonderful experts, celebrities, entertainers, medical physicians and all, but we like to have experts that will help the senior population. And what else will help you but an elder law attorney? So we were very fortunate to be able to steal Jason Neufeld away from all his clients and just ask him, will you come on this morning and just tell us some things that are important? So good morning, Jason.
Good morning. Am I here as an elder law attorney or because I'm a celebrity? What category do I fit in?
That's good. I like that. Well, you're a celebrity elder law attorney, okay? When someone comes in, do you sing and dance for them?
If it depends on the bill, I guess.
Right. Well, you know, it's very interesting now with COVID, how elder law attorneys are even more important because there are things that people are trying to get together that they thought, well, we'll just do it another year.
Sure.
So let me back up a little bit. So you're an elder law attorney and that's a specialty. Why don't you just give, a very brief minute or so of what an elder law attorney does?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great question because elder law really is an umbrella term for multiple areas of law. So there's stuff that a lot of your viewers are probably already aware of, like estate planning, right? Your wills and your trusts and your power of attorney, probate, guardianship, things like that. What separates an elder law attorney is that not only will they do those things, but they will specialize in an area known as Medicaid planning. It's very niche, very subspecialty. Not a lot of attorneys do it, where we can essentially legally and ethically protect our clients' assets and get them qualified for Medicaid to pay for some or all of their long-term care expenses.
And I'm glad you brought that up because we do know that there are people doing Medicaid planning who are not attorneys. And I have to tell you that as a gerontologist, I think you have to go to an expert, do it correctly. And even if maybe they work with an attorney, why don't you go directly to an attorney like Jason is? So, okay, I hear that now, but how long have you, let's go back.
Yeah.
Why are you an elder law attorney as compared to a general attorney?
Yeah, fair enough. My background, actually, I've been an attorney for, I think, 14 years total. I think I'm in my 14th year. And I actually started out as a personal injury attorney, represented the injured. I started representing more and more elderly clients. And what we were finding is if we represented someone already on Medicaid, then we would have to take additional action. If we got in this nice big verdict or settlement, we'd have to take additional action in order to protect those benefits. And I found myself gravitating toward that, finding that super interesting. And then I learned that you could do it in reverse. You could take someone who doesn't already qualify for Medicaid and do the same thing. And I just thought that was super interesting. And I found myself just kind of gravitating toward it and started learning all about it. And that's then what I transitioned into doing almost exclusively for the last 8 years.
That's great. People who are older, people over 65 do need help. And they, unfortunately, they sit around their pool and everyone has an idea, but you need to go to a professional. And so that's why we've asked Jason Neufeld to be on our show this morning. Well, let's just talk a little bit about besides the Medicaid, which I know is very important. Sure. Tell us all the other things that you do and you specialize in, and maybe give us an instance where it was really important that you help them.
Yeah. So I'd say if I spend most of my time doing Medicaid planning, I spent the second most percentage of my time doing estate planning. And I tell people that of all the fancy trusts and planning that I do, there's nothing more important than a well-drafted, durable power of attorney. And I see people coming in and they come into my office and they're very confident in themselves and they go, Jason, don't worry, I have a power of attorney. I downloaded it off the internet. And it says that my agent can do whatever they need to do. And I say that always puts a lump in my throat and I say, listen, I'm going to be the bearer of bad news. That form, by the way, those free forms on the internet might be fine for certain things, but when we get into anything that requires any level of complexity, setting up trust, applying for government benefits, dealing, sometimes we're doing what's called self-dealing, where the agent has to enter into a transaction that benefits the agent on behalf of the principal. Most of those generic forms won't do. So if they come to me and say, my elderly loved one or my disabled loved one needs help applying for these benefits, or we need help doing anything, I sometimes have to say, well, if they are not able to sign a new power of attorney, we can't do it because this form you brought to me is deficient. And now we're into guardianship world. We're going in front of a judge and saying, listen, we don't have the right paperwork. Please let us make these decisions because it's what's right. And that costs so much more money, takes so much more time. So we see this as a problem that we want to try to get ahead of. So if I can leave your listeners with impress upon them one thing is go to an elder law attorney for your power of attorney. Don't download the form on the internet. And by the way, some lawyers who kind of dabble in this stuff are also not giving good forms because they haven't updated them and they're using the forms that they used 10 years ago, which aren't good anymore. So it's important you're right, it's important to be with somebody who is staying on top of the law, knows the latest developments so that you can be adequately protected. That's really what this is all about.
You are reading my mind. My mother and her two sisters, and then many years ago, they did found an attorney, then recommended the other two to go there. And what he did is he apparently just downloaded something from his computer. It was really just a chop, there it was. So it was not very good. There's some problems that had occurred. So I absolutely say, go to someone that's going to take you seriously. This is not just a form. I mean, you've spent a lot of time making money, having your family, you want to do it right. It's worth every cent. And so Jason Neufeld has a great reputation. And I hope that you will go and do that. How can they get in touch with you, Jason?
Sure. I have a bunch of different ways to do it. Our website is www.elderneedslaw.com. We have offices I operate out of our Aventura and Plantation offices. And I have attorneys who I have one in Lakewood Ranch, which is by Bradenton on the west coast of Florida. And I have two of-counsel attorneys. One of them is in West Palm Beach and the other one is in South Miami. And we cover the state remotely. To set up an appointment with me, I have my assistant. Her email address is easy enough. It's scheduling@elderneedslaw.com. Try to make it easy. And call our phone number, 305-931-0478. All great ways to get in touch with us, and we're happy to help.
And we will have all that information on this when we finish. It will be it'll be up when you see it. But let's just, before we have a little bit of time left, I want to just ask you, I always do this personally. Are your parents still living?
Thank God, yes.
Okay, and they must love what you do.
Yeah. My father's an attorney as well. That's how I got into this. And so, it's funny because, my father's a golfer. And so he's talking to all his senior citizen golf buddies, and they all have a different, he gets all this free legal advice from his non-attorney friend that don't practice elder law. And I go, Dad, first of all, by the way, he's a personal injury attorney still. He still practices. That's how that's where I started. And I go, Dad, don't tell your friends don't tell your friends about this Medicaid stuff. It's like all this gossip. There's so much misinformation. By the way, if I can, I hope this isn't too much, but there's so much misinformation about Medicaid planning. I wrote a book about it that's available on Amazon. This is the book right here. It's how to get Medicaid to pay for some or all of your long-term care expenses without having to wait 5 years, without having to sell your house, without having to go broke first. I wrote it for non-attorneys. This is like $12. I promise this isn't like Neufeld trying to push his book. This is not a moneymaker. I'm trying to get good information out there. And this is one of the best ways I thought to do it. And it's on Amazon. If you have a Kindle, I think it might be $8. I try to make it very reasonable, and you're getting, lawyer quality advice, but it's written for non-attorneys.
Well, maybe we got to do something in Boomer Times with that. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that because
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that, but we're actually inserted in the Miami Herald down in Aventura and that whole area.
I feel like I haven't
Yeah,
gotten the Miami
we
Herald
do.
in a long time, but I feel like I remember seeing that. So that's
Right.
great.
So,
Yeah.
and my guest has been Jason Neufeld, and we still have another little bit of time that I want to ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So, when people do pass away, you have all their documents, and the kids now have a place that they can find them. Because, years ago, someone passes away and the kids come down the apartment and no one can find anything.
Right.
But you must make sure that they know who you are,
Yep.
and then that you have everything that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. So we keep everything in so we don't keep original documents. We give those to the clients because that's important, but we keep a scanned copy of everything. So yeah, years down the line when someone's passed away, or by the way, not all of for a lot of these documents, originals aren't always needed. So if they lose the power of attorney, it's okay. I can just shoot them out a quick email and get that document to them, or a healthcare surrogate designation. Even trusts, originals aren't needed. So by having these copies somewhere safe, like with a firm like mine, if God forbid you lose it or you need it down the road, we have it readily available for you.
Yeah, and so a lot of the elders don't understand that, here they have their documents, they put them somewhere, no one really knows, they may have it in a safety deposit box or somewhere.
Right.
But it's not for you, it's really for your family.
Yeah.
And having, what I suggest is when you meet with Jason and you work out everything, when your kids come down the next time, they should sit with Jason also, because they will need to know. And then maybe some of them need this. A lot of, a lot of you are in your 90s and they're in their 70s. And so it's wonderful having an elder law attorney like Jason Neufeld, if you haven't heard of him before.
Yeah, one of the other, we try to give our clients very practical advice. We don't just say, here are your documents, good luck to you. We have very specific instructions, but for example, I tell people, for example, the power of attorney or the healthcare surrogate designation. I go, these documents do you no good sitting in this nice binder for which I just handed to you. You want to get them into the hands of the third parties that you want to honor these documents, and do that now. Give the power of attorney to the bank and the financial institutions and the life insurance company. Put the healthcare surrogate into the hands of your doctors so that's already in the file. So when there's a crisis and now someone needs to act very quickly, the documents are already where they need to be. You don't have to submit it, have that third party review, have it reviewed by their attorney. It's already there. It's already been approved. It's ready to use. And that's what all this is about. It's about removing barriers so that people can get important decisions made with as little delay as possible.
That's excellent advice. And that's really why you do need an elder law attorney. That's why it's a growing field. As a matter of fact, many years ago, when I first started as a gerontologist 30 years ago, wasn't elder law attorneys. Right. There were some attorneys that dealt in trusts. That's what they said. Or then you went to the bank and you dealt with a trust officer.
Right.
But there must have been a great need, and that's why elder law became actually a profession. Isn't that true?
Yeah, that's correct. There are issues that are so specific to an elderly, and typically elder law attorneys will deal with the disabled community as well. So these two populations have such specific nuanced needs that a whole separate category of law had to be born from that need. And that's really what it's all about. Because we're having conversations about Social Security. Are they on Social Security income, Social Security retirement, or Social Security disability? How does that, if they're about to receive an inheritance, or if they want to make sure that they have, we deal with a lot of people who are not elderly or not disabled themselves, but maybe they have a disabled child. And now we want to make sure that we're planning in advance so that when the parent passes away, that their disabled child is well taken care of in a way that A, is not going to jeopardize their ability to qualify for these public benefits, and B, just to, again, make sure that everything is taken care of. Planning in advance really is the name of the game.
I'm glad you brought that whole issue up. I do have a friend who does take care of a disabled sister, and she does have a lot of provisions, and I don't know what her situation is. She's a professional, so hopefully she has an elder law attorney, but she's taken care of her sister for many, many years. And we don't think about the disabled as such. And I guess there are a lot of people like that you're dealing with. So it's not just elder law trusts, and it's bigger than that, isn't it? Is it also, do you deal in guardianships?
We do. Our firm will do what's called an uncontested guardianship, meaning like we just need a decision made. Everyone agrees who should be making those decisions, and there's no good power of attorney. There is a whole other area of specialty of attorneys who deal with contested guardianships. That's where we have a disabled person with people fighting over who should be making decisions for that person. And that gets into a whole long drawn out thing that we just don't do. But well, yeah.
You know, Jason, this has been a great interview. Hopefully we'll be able to get you on again. I know there's so many things that we haven't been able to cover, but this is Jason Neufeld, and you'll see his information when we finish this. Thank you so much, Jason. Appreciate your time this morning.
Anita, truly, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.